the biggest change, the biggest step change in our net worth happened when we started investing in real estate. As you guys might recall, in 2020, everybody wanted a new house and the housing market exploded. Welcome to the channel. My name is Terrell Higgins. Today we're going to be getting into my financial journey to $1 million, and I hope to share with you 5 tips that you can incorporate into your journey to help you reach that beautiful mark of $1 million. Note, I'm not a CPA, I'm not an attorney, I'm not a financial advisor or lender. I'm just a fellow traveler on this journey to wealth and financial independence, just like yourself. And without further ado, let's get into it. So I'll leave timestamps below so you guys can skip around further in the video if you don't want to hear about my background. But my name is Terrell Higgins. Like I said, I got a degree in chemical engineering from the University of Maryland, Baltimore County. So not the Terrapins. Everybody thinks it's the Terrapins. No, our mascot was the Chesapeake Bay Retriever. It was a super nerdy school. Our claim to fame was that we were national chess champions, like multiple years in a row for a long time there. So completely different type school. So while I was going through school, I actually did a program called NUPOC. It's Nuclear Propulsion Officer Candidate Program. That helped pay for my degree. So I was able to graduate debt-free. And I think that really helped me on my financial journey, starting from a base of 0 and not negative 100,000, negative 200,000 like you can get with some of these private schools. So after I joined that program, I was a submarine officer in the Navy for 6 years. When you say submarines, the first thing people think of is Hunt for Red October or Hunter Killer. That's so far from the truth. So the closest thing to actual submarine life is this movie called Down Periscope.
Hear something?
Yeah. Almost sounded like an explosion.
That is the closest proximity to actual submarine life. So the biggest thing that I got out of being in the Submarine Force, not the money, but the skills and the mindset, that unstoppable determination that when you set your mind to a goal, you are going to be able to achieve it as long as you're persistent and consistent. So about 7 years into my working career, I was actually able to save $100K in a taxable brokerage account. And I was really proud of that milestone. I didn't think it was something I was going to be able to achieve. I was spending a bunch of money on credit cards, and I wasn't making the best financial decisions, and some of my family members needed financial assistance, and I couldn't say no. I was helping them, and it led me to a place where I was struggling to save, but we were able to right the ship, and within 7 years, I was able to get that first $100K saved. After 6 years in the Navy, I realized that the military was not for me. It was just, the hours were too long, the sacrifices of family and friends were too much, and I decided to leave the military and join the civilian workforce and do nuclear power. So you're like, nuclear power? Why nuclear power? So the Navy, all naval submarines in the US Navy are nuclear powered. So that's where I got my exposure to nuclear power, and I continued that skill set into the civilian world. And when I started in the civilian world, I already felt like I was behind. I had spent like 6 years not making that much money compared to my peers who graduated with their engineering degrees, and right out of the gate, they were making between $80K and $100K a year. So I felt like I was behind, but I was able to quickly close that gap once I joined the civilian workforce. 2 years into civilian life, I was able to cross that six-figure mark that everyone strives to achieve, and we started putting money away. So it was slow and steady progress. We were just dollar cost averaging into a taxable brokerage account, and it kept growing pretty linearly. And we had a lot of assistance because the longest bull market run of the stock market ever was happening during this time frame. So I was just consistently dollar cost averaging in, letting market conditions carry me along. And the biggest change, the biggest step change in our net worth happened when we started investing in real estate. So in 2015 to 2021, my wife and I, we acquired 5 investment properties. And it doesn't sound like a lot, but it was life-changing. There was a huge step change in our net worth because, as you guys might recall, in 2020, everybody wanted a new house and the housing market exploded. So we got lucky with the stock market and we got lucky with the housing market, but we had to put ourselves in a position to actually receive that luck, to actually benefit from the market conditions that we were in. So I'm telling all this to you to say, what are some key takeaways from my journey to $1 million? And the first one is that progress is not linear. Don't get discouraged if it feels like it's not going as quickly as your peers, or if you get setbacks, or you're not where you feel like you want to be. No one's where they feel like they want to be, because what happens is as you achieve a goal, you've developed more skills and more capability, and then you realize that you're capable of even bigger goals. So you just kind of keep moving that goalpost as you move along that spectrum of achievement. So don't get discouraged when things go wrong or when things aren't going your way, because there will be bumps on the road. It is not a smooth journey. Progress is not a straight line. The second big tip that I would give to you guys is run your own race. Don't get distracted by other people's journeys. You always get that influencer sizzle of, I made $1 million this year. This is how you can do it. I was able to achieve my first $1 million at 19. This is how you can do it. Please, that is not common. That's not how this works. It is a marathon, not a sprint. And if you take that long-term approach to building wealth, you'll get much better results. My biggest financial setback was when I got FOMO and decided I wanted to build a cryptocurrency mining farm. So it taught me a bunch of things. It taught me how to set up a business, how to calculate profit and loss. It taught me a lot of skills, but it didn't make any money at the end of the day. And it all came from a place of wanting what I saw other people had.
I just wish we could all get along like we used to in middle school. I wish that I could bake a cake made out of rainbows and smiles, and we'd all eat it, be happy.
She doesn't even go here.
Do you even go to this school?
No, I just have a lot of feelings.
Okay, go home.
The actual progress came from being consistent and doing what I had an unfair advantage in and consistently performing. Which leads me to my next tip. Consistency is the most powerful trait that you can possess. So if you're willing to make little improvements over time, you will get a huge result. You need to be patient and willing to watch things unfold for 20 to 30 years. If you do anything consistently for 10 years, you're going to get good at it. But that's not what most people want. They want the overnight success. Little do they know that that overnight success had about 7 to 10 years of failures and trials and tribulations before they came into that public view of being successful. So the biggest way I could drive home the power of consistency and compounding is, imagine if someone offered you $10 million, or you can get a penny that doubles in value every day. So comparing those two things, a lot of people would pick the $10 million, but that's not the right answer. If you take that penny that doubles every day, by day 31, you have $10.7 million. And before the end of the second month of this penny doubling, you are the richest person in the world. In fact, you have lapped all the billionaires in the world combined. So according to Forbes, in 2023, if you lump together all the billionaires, they're worth about $12.2 trillion. Our magical doubling penny would put you right around $1 quadrillion. So the power of compounding is really hard for people to grasp and understand, but it's huge. Just a 1% change, taking that action is going to give you a huge, huge result. The next tip, the harder you try, the more luck you will obtain. So we got very lucky with real estate, and we got very lucky in the stock market. But if we let analysis paralysis prevent us from investing in the first place, then we wouldn't have had an opportunity to get these outsized returns. So Wayne Gretzky always used to say, you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. So you need to get yourself in the game, get going, and create your own luck. Put yourself in play so the universe can give you what you deserve. The fifth tip is, if you aren't failing, you aren't trying. There's only success and learning opportunities. When things don't work out for you, realize that it's an opportunity for you to grow and learn to get that future success. One thing people don't realize is Edison went through over 2,000 different materials before he was able to find one that illuminated the light bulb. And one really cool example, Mark Cuban, billionaire and owner of the Dallas Mavericks, he actually got fired or quit multiple jobs after he left college before he became a billionaire. It was almost a decade of time between when he left college and he actually sold his first startup for millions of dollars. It doesn't matter how many times you mess up, you only have to be right once. And then everyone will turn around and tell you how lucky you are, when that luck was actually 10 to 15 years of work and failures and learning and growth to get you to where you are. So those are the tips, guys. There's the 5 tips. Comment down below anything you want me to make future videos on. If you felt inspired, let me know down below. If something in my journey really resonated for you, let us know down below. And please like and subscribe and tune in for future content.